Greetings and felicitations, my friends. Welcome to Retro Trekkers Vintage Voyages, the show where we revisit classic episodes of Starbase 80 featuring Captain John and Commander Flobo Boyce. As you may know, Captain John, yours truly, Commander Joe, and Chief Pettiness Officer Eric Kramer just finished a tour of duty with Strange New Worlds as the Strange Old Trekkers. But now they're on hiatus for a bit, Captain John thought it might be a good idea to take CPO Kramer over to Risa for a little while, kind of wine and dine him, placate him a bit, because that rascal, he's been threatening to put laxatives in the food replicators again. And boy, we cannot have that, especially old trekkers like us. So, tonight, we're going to be going back to March 19th, 1988, episode 19 of Star Trek The Next Generation, titled Heart of Glory. A better than average episode for season 1 of TNG. Also, John's first attempt to warm Flobo up to the idea of the character of Lieutenant Worf. Was he successful? Will he ever be successful in getting Flobo to warm up to Worf? Time will tell. Now, this episode was directed by Rob Bowman. I'm going to consult my tricorder here. It was written by Maurice Hurley from a story by Herbert Wright and D.C. Fontana. So some good talent there, although Maurice Hurley is questionable. You know what? It also stands out for a lot of people as being a quality episode because there's no Wesley or Deanna Troi in it. But again, you be the judge. So there'll be more thoughts from me at the end of the episode. But for now, please enjoy a look back with Captain John and Commander Flobo at TNG's Heart of Glory. Enjoy.
I will, to the best of my ability, with every shred of my being, with every power granted to me by Star Trek, my love of Star Trek, and you, my fellow Star Trek fans, I will make Flobo Boyce like Worf. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do it, my friends. We are going to do it. Welcome to Starbase 80. I'm your host, Captain John, and let me get rid of that. Let me do that because I do that every week. Kind of my version of a dad joke. And let me introduce the co-host of the show, the man upon whom all this pressure is being placed. We are trying to get this man to like a character that up to this point he has not liked, and that would be Worf, the Klingon crew member of Star Trek The Next Generation. And here's his greatest nemesis. I don't think anyone has done battle as much as Worf has been forced to do battle with this man. Ladies and gentlemen, number one, my first officer, your favorite on Starbase 80. I know, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt at all. I feel the same way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Flobo Boyce.
What is the deal with Worf? Is that a real name or a sound a dog makes? I mean, is Worf intimidating? I don't think so. It's like something you say if you're trying to make your way through church. Excuse me, Worf. How's it going, Captain?
Man, you are like pushing a boat uphill. You are difficulty personified. I love it because conflict makes for good entertainment. So the fact that you and we are, I mean, just so that people know, John Weber, Flobo Boyce, we are friends, we are comedians, we are both fans of Star Trek. Now, Flobo is a more recent fan. I am an old school fan. So as Flobo looks back with me at shows that I think are fundamental to loving Star Trek, he always gives me a fresh pair of eyes to look through. And I do appreciate it. Let's not get that twisted. I appreciate that you have a different outlook than I do, Flobo, although you are so very wrong.
Wrong about what? Tell me what I'm wrong about.
Okay. First off, holodeck episodes are awesome.
If you say so.
Flobo hates holodeck episodes.
This is like when your rich uncle comes over and gives you $10 and go play. Yeah, it's great, but this is obviously not good for you.
I don't need you to be anything but who you are, Flobo. I appreciate who you are.
Bless his heart.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart, Flobo. Bless your heart.
But he gave me the southern FU.
You gotta
oh, bless your heart.
With it. Oh, bless your heart. How about this one? I'ma pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other big screw you. Oh, have a nice afternoon, sir. Okay, so we are fighting one of the greatest battles of all time, as far as I'm concerned, because I think I've told you this, Flobo. I have other friends who are funny and original, prolific writers and artists, and they also dislike Worf.
Yeah, and they're great, and they're right. Consensus cannot be wrong. Google told me this.
Now, do you have much experience with TOS, those old scientists, the original series of Star Trek? Do you have much experience with Klingons from that series?
They look like space hitchhikers, really. They had like the grease paint and the big medieval clothes. They look like this. Someone rummaged in the back of the costume department. You're a Klingon.
Look, I got a bunch of bumblebee sweaters. Is that gonna work for your guys? Put on the stripy sweaters, boys.
It's like when you want to have a party and your dad's like, "Oh, you can have the party here." You're like, "This is the basement." No, you can put some streamers. It'd be great. That's what it was. That's what it felt like.
Somebody run down to the Ponderosa set and have their makeup lady give us all their Indian makeup.
Right.
We're gonna slather that on a bunch of Greek guys and pretend that they're aliens. Well, how will we know they're aliens? They have beards. Only weirdos have beards.
Right.
Your hitchhiker.
And they seem like humans.
Look at those beards. Ew. Klingons were a warrior race. They were an aggressor race in the original series. They were just kind of cranky. They were like regular Earth people, except swarthy and cranky. And always threatening, always with the threats and ready to go to violence quickly. It was very othering. It was very borderline racist. Whenever you're painting white people a darker color, it's not a good thing.
Oh, it's a great thing. It's a Hollywood thing.
and in the 60s, it was still quite acceptable to do that. So that's what Klingons were then. When Star Trek: The Motion Picture was made, they redid Klingons. I'm going to show you the first time I ever saw the new Klingons. Okay. And I think this was the first time a lot of people in the world saw new Klingons. And that was in this commercial for McDonald's Happy Meal.
The Happy Meal. Oh, all right.
So does that work? No, I think I got to do it.
That can't be it, is it? Is that it?
That's it. That's part of the commercial. Let's see if I can keep it up a little
wearing
bit.
a glands. Okay.
Well, I mean, the Klingon head was a work in progress.
Okay.
So
For you parents who don't speak Klingonese, he's saying, people of Earth, unite and bring your kids to McDonald's for a Star Trek
basically,
meal. That's a regular
He is
hamburger,
not saying
fries,
that.
soft drink,
He isn't saying that at all.
cookie sampler, and a Star Trek prize.
People of Earth unite? What?
Oh, yes, 5 different boxes.
now what's cool about this is the voiceover. I know you can barely hear it, but the voiceover is Gary Owens, the guy who used to do the voiceover for Laugh-In.
Oh.
From beautiful downtown Burbank.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. If
It's
you
based
remember
on Star
Burbank.
Trek, the motion picture. Action scenes, jokes, games. He says, take it from a father who knows. His kids love him. McDonald's Star Trek meal available for your kids now.
That just sounds like cultural appropriation. He's like, I'm going to kill each and every single one of you people. Stop floating these burgers in front of my face. He's saying, got a good deal. Like, no, he's not. The Klingon would never do that.
The part where he's like, this Klingon wants you to buy a Happy Meal, and it's got jokes.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to blow this planet up. What are you talking about?
So that was a whole new kind of Klingon, as I always like to describe them. These are the Klingons with the horseshoe crabs on their heads.
Yeah, I see that. Rib for your pleasure.
And they, damn. So working with that from Star Trek the Motion Picture, they're jumping ahead in time to Star Trek the Next Generation. Now there is a proposal, as they're planning the show, to get aliens on the ship. They could have gone with Andorians, my beloved Andorians. You know I love them.
Beloved.
The Tellarites. No one loves Tellarites.
Yeah, they're kind of there, right? They're kind of like the third tenor, like it's like the other one, Domingo Pavarotti and
the Curly Joe,
yeah,
if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Shemp. Shemp is the best one. I don't care what you say.
Hey, honestly, I was a big Shemp man. What you had with the new series was, and I really, there's a lot that's been written about this. You had Gene Roddenberry, who was very influential in creating Star Trek The Next Generation. And he did get a lot of great ideas going, and he is the great bird of the galaxy. There would be no Star Trek without him. So as many negative things as I ever say about Gene Roddenberry, please call me on it if I don't give him credit for all the good things that he did.
Mm-hmm.
But this story, unfortunately, is filled with not good things that he did. One of the first things that came up was he did not want to use the Klingons on The Next Generation.
Okay, fair enough.
The writers that he was working with were writers he'd worked with very successfully. So two of the main writers that he was working with, who were kind of helping him flesh out the universe, create the Bible for the series. If you know what a Bible is, you know, it's a big, thick book that tells you all the rules and all of the things that they know about this universe, and so that you don't defy those things when you write your scripts. David Gerrold, great writer, Star Trek writer, known for The Trouble with Tribbles.
Ooh, classic.
Also a good episode for Klingons. You get a real window into who Klingons are from that episode. He was part of creating the Bible and creating Next Generation. And of course, Dorothy Fontana, who was a writer for the original Star Trek, as well as David Gerrold. DC Fontana also was one of the main executive producers of Star Trek the Animated Series, which is generally considered the fourth season of TOS.
Do you believe that?
In its scripts. I believe it enough. That's a good question. How about you? Do you believe that, Flobo, that the animated series was good enough to be considered a fourth season of the original series?
I do not, but again, I'm coming at it much later. You know, even though the animated series is the good methadone, if you were a fan of the original series, like the stories seem kind of like whimsical. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is true. Yeah, they were Saturday morning cartoons. Many of the scripts were a little bit adult for the morning, but a lot of times they were dumbed down. Also, they were half-hour scripts, so they were extremely light in terms of what we recognize as a Star Trek episode. But But I do like that DC Fontana continued with the series, one of the few women in science fiction on television. Very strong voice and a very strong advocate of making all of Star Trek more inclusive and progressive and futuristic and not locked into the close-mindedness of the time when it was made, which was mid 60s to early 70s. That's when she was working on those particular Star Treks. With Gerald and Fontana working on this one, they were very much trying to get Roddenberry to include Klingons. Roddenberry, as has been told by Ronald D. Moore, who worked a lot on the Star Trek episodes of Next Generation, he was considered the Klingon guy. He had several run-ins with Gene Roddenberry in which Gene Roddenberry said this.
He was all like,
Klingons are an arch nemesis of Captain Kirk on the original Star Trek. And that's it. No one wants any more from them. That's it.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I do not agree with that because Gene Roddenberry was squeezed out of making the movies because he did such a bad job on Star Trek The Motion Picture. He tended to take good writing and then go, well, I'm Gene Roddenberry, so I can rewrite this. And then he would dissemble the good writing with bad writing. Again, I try to give him credit for the things that he gets credit for, but come on, he did some pretty bad stuff too. And one of the things he did was try to, I don't know, do we use the word cock block on this show or the phrase?
I mean, it's not, I mean, I would say, yeah.
A lot of things that were going to happen in Star Trek and that people were hoping would happen in Star Trek, he would get in the way of. And that's just Star Trek just became a lot bigger than Gene. And I think Gene knew that. This is all my opinion, of course. But I think what we hear from people who had run-ins with Gene, they wanted to change things. And he was very much like, no, I don't have a reason why you shouldn't change it. I just say no.
I get it.
You've worked with guys like that, right? I've worked with so many.
I mean, something I understand, you know, when there may be someone that may have better ideas, but they can be coming from so many different directions. It's easy to be like, no, let me cut the noise. I'm gonna do what works for me, what got me to the dance, but that can be to their detriment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one must always, I say this to all artists, you have to constantly challenge yourself. And you have to question yourself. Am I doing things for the right reasons? Are my beliefs really my beliefs? Am I just leaning on old thinking or stinking thinking as,
sounds like a name of a community theater play. After Guys and Dolls, it's Stinking Thinking live at the Belmont Theater, 6 weeks only.
Oh my God. That was a line I stole from Al Franken's character, Stuart Smalley.
Oh, yeah, that's a awesome one.
But I would absolutely take my family to see a musical comedy called Stinkin' Thinkin'. Flobo, write it. Let's get you some done. Let's get you some royalties, man. What we had going into the assembly of the crew was a lot of pitches for a character that would be on the bridge. His name would be Worf. He would be a Klingon. He was probably going to be working more with engineering and engineering situations that came up, though he is also a man of all trades, as many people on that bridge were. It was very much Gene Roddenberry's order, his dictum, if you will, that Worf was not supposed to be on the bridge.
Right, would have been the right call, personally.
You think so?
Yes. The enemy of Kirk, and we'll get to the episode, but the enemy of Kirk just hanging out on the bridge has a lot of rife for problems.
It's 100 years in the future, is it not?
It is, but Why is he hanging out on the bridge? I want to be on Starfleet, and they give him command, or not commands, but he's security.
Well,
but they have him on the bridge. It's terrible.
No, but he is an officer. I mean, he is part of the command chain. He definitely is on the line to become, a much higher officer. He's not just an enlisted man, which I think might have gotten Roddenberry what he wanted was if he'd made him a chief or something like that. If he'd made him
part of my Harry Kim like racism, but there's no way I would let a Klingon on my ship.
I honestly feel there's an element to that. Michael Dorn is a black actor.
Oh wait, what? No, I'm not saying. Don't get me in trouble, Jack.
This is what I worry about with Roddenberry. Roddenberry is an old school bastard, and he's looking like, oh, look at that Klingon over there.
There's Uhura. She's kind of black.
Oh, that's true. No, not even kind of. She's beautiful, gorgeously, freaking victoriously black. I love her.
Victoriously black. I'm gonna use that too. I was thinking. Try it. Hold me victoriously black. For the nightcap, yes.
That's your new Twitter account, gloriously black. I think I don't know. I get nervous when I hear all the crap that Roddenberry was talking about Klingons. Though Klingons were by and large played by white actors at this time too. It didn't become mostly black actors till later, which is also an interesting direction that it went in on the show. What had happened was somebody finally said to Roddenberry, look, it's 100 years in the future. I know you love Kirk versus Klingons, but and at this point, the movies had only gotten up to Christopher Lloyd, Reverend Jim from Taxi, as a Klingon.
Right.
We didn't yet get Christopher Plummer as a Klingon. We didn't yet get, we were pretty much at this point in the first season of The Next Generation, which I think this is 88. The movies did not yet reflect how interesting Klingons could be. A little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, this first aired on March 21st, 1988. It is the 20th episode of The Next Generation. And I just want to say, somebody pitched this to Roddenberry, and neither DC Fontana or David Gerald are claiming that they did it. Could have been Maurice Hurley who actually wrote this episode. And somebody said, look, in the future, the Klingons have made a Trees PD.
Trees PD. That's not hilarious, but it's kind of funny. Sorry.
Peace treaty. That's how we can edit it. Peace treaty. And they're part of the Federation. And it actually has changed everything. It's changed the Federation a little bit. It's definitely changed the Klingons. That actually comes into play a lot in this episode, which is the first episode that features Klingons. So, pretty exciting stuff, folks. I feel like
if you say so, Captain.
Do you not agree that this is a good setup?
I don't know if I'm bored of this episode or was a waste, and it makes me mad. Because this could have been so much better than what it was, and what I got was crap.
Now,
first of all, Tasha, hey girl, hey, what's up? What's going on?
Some good Tasha in this episode.
But you know what? And maybe I know I have my feelings about Klingons, which will go into details more depth here. But I kind of feel they wasted the interaction with Geordi and having the crew see through his visor. That could have been not the whole episode, but really could have been the crux of solving a weekly problem. But it was cast aside for this Klingon story. And the Klingon story is something that is by comparison a bit pedestrian. Now I know the graphics, you can't really like portray what the virus looks like and it'd be cool, but the idea of going through what a blind man can see, relatively speaking, was way more interesting for me.
That's interesting. I have a very specific feeling about that too, and that is that this was that the Klingon storyline was about 30 minutes worth of story. So what else are they going to do?
Should be assigned to do it.
What they did was they added this element, as Flobo mentions, this element of when they go onto this ship. All right, so very quickly, they are called There's a battle going on. Oh no, it's happening in the neutral zone. Oh no, there might be Romulans. Who? Romulans? Oh no! They go in to the neutral zone. Not a good place to be. And any fight could happen. Any battle, any war could happen. It's terrible, very tense. We do get that moment of hang on, everybody. And then it's like that terrible synthesizer music where they just cut from face to face.
It's not subtle. Nope.
Not subtle. A very first season, Next Generation. Oh man. And that's actually something I wanted to ask you, Flobo. If you can make the judgment based on everything you've been given from me and from watching this episode, is this bad because it's part of the first season, or is this bad because it's objectively bad?
You know what? I never bought into, maybe because I wasn't there when it was released. I didn't really buy into bad first season, good seasons on. Oh. I'm not sure if that means if season 1 made sense to me, or I just have Tashiar loving, or maybe the episodes weren't like night and day for me, but I always took them as they were. And I think they're pretty fine for what it was. I didn't really feel like it was flat or anything like that. But I will say that going from TOS and seeing those crew being a bit more swashbuckling to having a bureaucracy like by the book crew might be seen as like, hitting people off the kneecaps to long-term fans.
I mean, this is the classic Roddenberry versus everyone else conflict. He had a certain amount of what he would do in the Next Generation, and that was it. And one of the things that he said all along was, I do not want conflict among the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Something that comes up in this one where he's objecting to focusing on Klingons or focusing on Worf, who he considered a minor character.
Right.
To him, this is a show about Jean-Luc Picard.
Sure.
And if you're going to do any interesting scripts, they should be about Jean-Luc Picard.
I don't want to say I'm a sympathizer of Roddenberry because his estate has millions more than I do, and I'm sure they don't know I'm alive. But I wrote a screenplay. It was about a street racer that ran into a church, and his punishment in pure Hallmark movie fashion was to volunteer at the church, and it was called "Take the Wheel." Get it?
I love it.
And it was supposed to be a screenplay, a TV screenplay. It became an audio drama. And one of my collaborator friends, James Platt Jr., wanted to do a spinoff called Fish Out of Water because the main character is called Fish, because I was trying to do a whole Christian allegory and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But he added so many different characters, and Fish Out of Water structurally works. But in my head, it felt like a syncopated beat. Like the notes did not feel right to my ears, even though it was correct and even though it totally worked. So like, I don't knock Roddenberry because I've been there myself when someone takes your toys and they have something that could be great or could be not. But when you're relying on your instincts as a creator, you're like, no, that's not. So yes, the Klingons were kind of like, these jagged tooth people to be like foils. Now you're saying, oh, Worf is going to have this thing and you're going to give him some nuance and have him be one of the crew. It just seems like I don't know, against the vision.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'll tell you that as a fan, as a TOS fan and kind of a fan of the movies, like I was going to watch every one of them, but I certainly was like, oh, I love Wrath of Khan and everything else is kind of okay. Oh, I love the one with the whales and everything else is kind of okay. It was exciting to have the Klingons go from being the old grumps that they are in like Trouble with Tribbles and turn them into this warrior race that's very much like the Japanese idea of Bushido, that there's a code of honor that comes with being a warrior, or, chivalry. But these are guys who love battle. So there's also that element of the kamikaze. There's also that element of, I'm putting my entire life into battle because glory is worth it for me. And of course, this episode is called Heart of Glory. And it does come up. Let me go as quickly as possible through this. I think the visor scene that you brought up is really interesting to me because this is one of the first moments that I noticed in TOS where they are bonding with Geordi. And there's that
TNG.
great line. What's that?
TNG. They're bonding in TNG. You said TOS.
Did I say TOS?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boyce. There is that moment where Jean-Luc Picard says the line, "Now I'm beginning to understand him." What do you think of that, Flobo?
I think that's the story of the episode. Here's somebody who was literally on your crew that you took for granted, and he's letting you know, and you see how it works. You see how he interprets signals and how it's kind of like how we interpret audio signals in a conversation. That is just nice, wrapped in a science package with a bow on top, and you go, Klingons, and toss it out the window. Whatever.
I want to throw just one little nugget of trivia in there. There's that moment where Geordi is looking at Riker and then he's looking at Data. So they're away on the ship, and his visor, all caps, is sending back the signals, and they're going, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Well, that's Mr. Riker and Mr. Data." It actually wasn't Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner. Because I'm watching that going, that does not look like the actors. It's their stand-ins.
That makes sense. It's like, it's gonna be a cool effect. We're going to lunch. That's someone else figure that out.
But I wonder too if that isn't okay. The director's Rob Bowman, and I wonder if that isn't Bowman's like, no, you have to understand. Geordi sees things so differently, like Richard Sardstedt, the stand-in for Jonathan Frakes, and Ken Gilden, the stand-in for Brent Spiner, are what he sees. He sees two different actors.
Well, that's the first officer, Captain.
Freaking love that. Okay, Geordi, using his super X-ray vision provided by Visor, detects a hull fissure. So now we've got the ticking time bomb trope. We've got to get this done. Got to get these life forms. Who are these life forms? And they get to the life forms, and they're Klingons. One is very, very injured. They have to get transported out, and that is Tasha Yar is in charge of that.
Let's go, Tasha.
So if there's a transportational emergency, there isn't always a Chief O'Brien. You'll just like, hey, blonde girl, go run the transporter.
And she did with the plum.
And she did. She saved them. The ship blowed up. Batress blowed up. And one of the Klingons is dying. He's in really bad shape. They get him to medical, and Dr. Crusher makes her check for the week by going, I don't know, looks pretty bad. We meet the two other Klingons. There is Commander Chorus and Lieutenant Conmel. They tell a story that is completely unbelievable. I didn't even bother to write it down. It's such bullcrap. What do you think of these guys? I've heard different criticisms of the actors playing Chorus and Conmel. I've heard different criticisms of the characters. What did you think of those characters, Flobo?
They're fine, and there are more Klingon than Worf. In fact, I want more episodes about those guys. Why are they more interesting than Worf? Because Worf sucks. There you go.
Because
lame.
So they sit down with Worf while they're waiting to find out how the kid, their young pal Kunivas is doing. So they sit down, they have a little charcuterie board and a little
king shit. Sorry.
Yeah, man. It's and so they're having a little snack, a little nosh, little drink, some spirits, and they start in on Worf. They are pretty much saying what you just said, Flobo. You ain't Klingon enough.
Yeah.
You don't have any street cred. You grew up in the suburbs, or in Worf's case, he grew up in farm country. And Worf gives now I, as a fan, had always wanted to hear this, and there was no internet, so I wasn't getting any information about Worf at all. I just knew there was a Klingon who was part of the crew, but he explains to us his origin, which is I have it written down here. He was at Kittimer, which is a famous battle of Romulans attacking Klingons. It gains importance as the series of TNG goes on, because we find out that Kittimer was the moment where Starfleet came in to help the Klingons as they were battling the Romulans. And because Starfleet stepped up and acted like warriors and joined into the fight, the Klingon said, you know what? Starfleet ain't so bad. Let's become friends. And eventually they joined the Federation. Now, how you feeling about that, Flobo? That's pretty cool.
See this face?
He's frowning, folks. He's frowning. Damn.
Yo, Worf, you soft. Well, you know, when I was a kid, it was really hard. I got saved. Oh, they're right. They're absolutely right.
He was a baby.
What are you doing this shit if you are a Klingon? And the thing is, you're the same Klingon who walks around in these random scenes. He goes, oh, we're too fragile. I am a Klingon. And I like, well, I would say before I was included.
That is so unfair. That is
it's so true.
Oh,
which one is it, man? You can't be like, I'm from the streets one week and be like, I was that baby the next.
No, okay. Look, I didn't want to have to be so ham-handed about this, but I'm going to go there. If you have, at one point in my life, we were looking into adoption, my wife and I.
Okay.
And one of the things that comes up in adoption is they go, what, kind of ethnicities would you prefer? And being a person who is constantly trying to become part of everything and does not believe in the supremacy of one race over another. I believe in people, but I also try to live that life. Just saying that is never enough. There are guys out there who will say, I don't see skin color, because you have the privilege of not being able to see it.
Fair.
That's the answer to that.
Okay.
So I remember saying at the time, I mean, honestly, I still feel that way. It's like, I'll raise any kid who wants to be raised. I'll be a father to any kid who wants a father. I'm not dividing these things up by race. So you have kids who have been in this case. My friend Jesse, his two kids are adopted, and they're not white. They're not white kids. They're kids of color. They're KOC. It's going to be hard to raise. Okay, so let's just say I adopt a black kid.
Okay.
And I live on a farm in Kansas. And that kid's growing up. Now he watches, I always assumed, I'd raise this kid in the 90s. So he's watching, Boys in the Hood, and he's watching,
Blossom. No, what's the opposite? Men's Society.
Watching Webster, probably old episodes of Webster at that point. But, the kid's probably going to want to know what it's like to be black. The kid's probably going to have this feeling of, I want to be everything I can be, including the things that other black kids are.
Sure.
So that's what I always saw with Worf. Worf is being raised, and by the way, he's being raised by white people too. Like when we meet his parents, they're a nice white couple. His brother, who's mentioned in this, is played by Paul Sorvino, which is hilarious. We'll see that episode one of these days. But Paul Sorvino is his brother. Paul Sorvino is Worf's Cybok. That is kind of meta. So when Worf is talking about being a Klingon, now he's a little boy. He's like 5-6 years old when he's rescued. His parents try to do everything they can to preserve his interest in learning about Klingon culture and becoming a Klingon. But there's only so much you can do within Starfleet. It is pretty whitewashed. And so he doesn't have a lot of relation directly to Klingons. As a matter of fact, these two Klingons, Chorus and Con Mel, are like the first Klingons he spent any time with. So my heart goes out to him there.
Absolutely.
Does that
I see that too?
Yeah, does that touch your heart at all, Flobo?
I get this. I was not adopted. I mean, fortunately for me, my parents are my biological parents, and they live together. They didn't break up. They're still married after, was it 45 years of yikes. Yeah, maybe they hate each other though, don't worry about it, but they're still married. And so being the son of immigrants and living in the United States, they try to get you in this position to be in a better life, right? I went to public school, but I went to a good public school and try to go to grad school, and I get that. When you go back to the old country, you're not that. It's a cool story there, bro. The problem I have with this particular episode is that they really make no strides of solving this. You have the other two, they say you're not Klingon enough, and then they bond over the death of two of the characters, and it kind of goes, all right, bye. And Worf still has to struggle with the same things he did 30 minutes prior. Nothing changed. So basically, you prodded the bear and just walked away.
I argue with that. I don't
argue.
I don't
argue.
What is sweet about it for Worf, and for me as a fan of Worf, is that we find out there are parts of Klingon life, just like the morning cry, the cry of, basically when a Klingon dies, and I don't know that they've continued to do this with the eyes. That was crazy. As the guy's dying, they hold his eyes open and they stare directly into his eyes, and then he dies. And then they can't even help it. There's this like weird vibration and they just roar up to the sky. And Worf does it too, which makes me think it's involuntary. What do you think about that?
I thought it was kind of like voluntary of a sort of respect, because it happened pretty much on cue, but that's a cool way to interpret it. I can't knock that if that's the case.
I mean, one of the things I love about Klingons is they always talk about the blood. It's in your blood. It's the blood. And there is a need that a lot of people have, and I'm one of them, to have that connection to tradition and strength of character. And
don't we all?
It's something I get from Worf, and I think a lot of Star Trek fans get that from Worf, because he's like me. He's trying to learn more about Klingons. I want to know more. They're interesting, fascinating, honestly, characters to me. We get some. I'm sorry, Flobo. Why are you laughing?
You're just going to bat for Worf. And look, man, I think had it been any other character on the planet or in this world, I would have been more on board. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Everyone has a backstory. Everyone's going to challenge him. What they are is always family. But the thing about Worf, you can look this up, the TV trope. I actually have a tab open. It's called the Worf effect. And that is when you want to get someone over, you got to be the toughest guy in the prison ward, right? And it's always Worf. So if you're watching someone job every single week, unless they're Barry Horowitz, I'm not buying the merchandise. So I've already disinterested myself. It doesn't matter what backstory he has, because he got the Klingon measles one time. The measles? The Klingon measles?
But that's a play. It's a play off his machismo. And you've seen a lot of that. You've seen a lot of jokes about how, one of the things that happened with Worf was they realized that he could be the character who displays the worst of humanity, not of Klingons, but of humanity. So he's like, he is a Romulan. You cannot trust him. So like that sort of bigotry, they would put that on Worf.
Okay.
And Worf is hot-headed. He's a warrior. He always thinks of war and conflict first. So him being a part of the crew, you're going to get someone representing this sort of old human, actually in our life, it's current human approach of distrust and bigotry, perhaps. And
but that's my point. You could be as bigotry as you want if you fight. But if you get your ass handed to you every week and go, you know what? I don't like those space Negroes. You just sound like you just need to sit down, Grandpa. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing redeeming about that. There isn't.
Making me laugh so hard. Oh my God. Okay, look, I'm not going to ask you to do anything you don't want to do. I'm just going to take you through the rest of the plot here. I'd see if I can do it in a couple of minutes. It has become clear that Worf is finding something in his relationship with Chorus and Conmel that challenges him. Meanwhile, a ship is approaching. They are still in the neutral zone, and they are still like, oh no, I hope we don't start a war. And the ship is Klingon. They talk to the Klingon commander, Kanera, and he explains to them that they are criminals, and they will be turned over to the Klingons immediately once they're within transporter range. So yet another clock is ticking now. Meanwhile, Chorus and Conmel are walking with Worf going, so how would one steal this ship and use it to rain terror on the galaxy?
Let me know. It's for a friend. Yeah.
I'm just curious. I ask this on every ship.
That triggers me all the time. When someone asks me a question, they go, just curious. I'm like, nobody's ever just curious. Why the hell do you want to know the secret recipe of my chicken sandwich? I don't know.
Just curious, huh?
Just curious.
Sure. I'll bet the Pilgrims were just curious about what it would take to kill all the Indians. Yeah, sure. That sounds right. Basically, Yar and her mob rolls deep. She shows up with her security outfit, and they are going to take the guys into custody because they got to turn them over to these Klingons. We're not screwing around here. Klingons say, you turn these guys over, and they're like, yep, that's what we're going to do. Worf feels a little torn, especially when, all right, a little girl, a toddler, runs up to Chorus and like touches him or something, and he picks her up. And now it's like, oh no, all the security guys are getting ready for a fight. He's taken a hostage. And he's like, no, this is a fine child, and I will give it back to its aerobics instructor mother.
Yeah, wink. Believe me.
The girl with the side ponytail wearing the 80s Flashdance outfit then takes the child and goes away.
Different times.
The Yar is like, oh, I thought we had a hostage situation there. And Worf says, only a coward would take a hostage. We are Klingons. And that's
cool.
that's one of those great Worf moments of like, you got to understand, like, we have honor. Honor matters to us. We're not just criminals or pirates or renegades. Like, we care. Of course, we find out.
He didn't say all that now.
No, but that's where we're leading it.
Because our department of Klingon.
Well, dude, those become big themes for Worf.
Yeah.
Duty and actually he mentions that here because he does get into it. These guys get imprisoned and then almost immediately start taking pieces off of their uniforms and making a weapon.
I mean, yeah, why not?
Which works, and they start to shoot their way out. They actually kill some security guys. Old time Star Trek guys getting killed like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, the body count's pretty high in this one.
Yeah, it is.
My favorite was Ramos. This is Ramos. Force field security has been broke. I was like, no, not Ramos.
Best thing about that was Ramos was played by one of the stuntmen. And he actually got a permanent job after this. They were like, man, he was so good. Let's always use him.
Ramos. I was like, this is the most gringoest way of pronouncing that word.
Hey man, that's Starfleet for you. So you got the guys trying to shoot their way out, and Conmel gets killed. But how about this? How many shots did it take to kill Conmel?
Zero.
Badass.
He killed himself.
3. Takes 3 ray gun shots to kill Conmel. That was something that was established in this episode about Klingons. Klingons are so sturdy. Their constitution is so high that you got to hit them 3 times.
I'll have you know, Captain, I think Klingons are dope. The sons of T'Kuvma are amazing. I like Klingons. And I'll leave it at that.
Interesting. Okay, I did not understand that your dislike for Worf is despite the fact that he's Klingon.
Oh, yeah. Look, Klingons are a cool race. And I told you the whole thing about writing for something outside of what you're used to, because I understand that. Yeah. But at the same time, when it comes to the whole T'Kuvma class in Discovery, I was on board with that. These Klingons are weird to me. I just don't think that Worf is the right representation, because they have to establish a threat by taking out the chief security officer. So you can make a super cut of how many episodes I've seen when Worf is on the ground going, I've been overpowered. And everyone's like, oh, Worf is cool. You're like, wait, these are the guys you're defending? Because Worf gets his ass handed in by everything. Like everything takes him out. You know?
Do we have a situation, you think?
Uh-oh.
Look, we're running low on time. So
here?
I've got to square off with you, my friend, because we are running low on time.
Okay.
One of the main things that came out of establishing Worf in this episode was we now had an understanding that the mythology and just the reality of Klingons is very deep, and there's a lot to know, and that they're warriors. So when Tasha Yar was unceremoniously murdered,
absolutely,
on this show, just brutally taken out of the show, and there are, reasons, I'm doing air quotes, there are stories why, and they had nothing to do with Michael Dorn. But once Tasha Yar was gone, they knew chief of security should be Lieutenant Worf.
Yeah.
And he took over her job, and quite well. He really was a good fit for that job. Is that one of the reasons you don't like him?
No, that's not it. That's not it at all. He can be Captain Worf. The problem will still remain that because this person, for every episode, either for laughs or for the drama, tells me over and over again, I am way popular at my old school. Hey, you know how it is? I'm from an Italian family. You know how Italians get down. You know how the Polish are. And the next thing you know, you're like saying, owie, 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 owie. It's like, bro, I'm from New Jersey. I'm tough, but can you help me out, please? It's so cold outside. Just... Okay, that's your favorite Klingon, great. But those ones from Discovery were badass. I felt those Klingons, war was a part of their identity. These Klingons, I feel like war is something they do. And that may not be the point they had, or their intent, but it seems like a bunch of guys are like, oh, there's a bunch of Viking pirates on the ship. Go, ho, ho. But those guys were like, no, our job is to conquer land, to get ourselves in a better position for our family and our next generation by conquest.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. You're really seeing a different Klingon empire in Discovery. And a lot of what is in Discovery is a after the fact translation of what happened, afterwards.
Yeah.
So there are many, many houses, and they are all at war, and some groups are not even part of houses, so they don't even count in this, this fiefdom that happens on Kronos. Yeah, I get it. On the other hand, at the time, there were not a lot of badass races for us sci-fi fans, so we really took to Klingons. Mm-hmm. It was a big deal. Old Klingons and new Klingons, frankly. All right, so I can tell you how this ends, which is basically the guy's like, I'm going to blow us all up. And he's pointing his gun at the, warp core. And I find this so funny that Worf basically is like, oh, really? Well, why don't you, stand up for yourself? The guy stops pointing the weapon at the warp core, and Worf just shoots him. Han Solo shot first.
Oh, what? No, it's Greedo, bro.
Greedo, he just shot Greedo, man. Later on in Star Wars.
Shot first.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm saying, yeah, it's a Star Wars reference. I'm just saying that was cold. That was ice cold.
He's like, this is for Ramos, man.
Well, I mean, he could have been. And then he shoots him. And this is something that was kind of interesting. The director, Rob Bowman, had been looking at in engineering in the script. They're just in the regular engineering room and they have a shootout. But he's like, wait a minute, we got these multi-levels here. So why don't we shoot up and down? And so what happens is when Chorus does get shot by Worf, he then falls through like 2 sheets of glass. It's a great stunt. It's really badass. And then Worf like goes down to his body, and then he does the Vulcan cry. I'm sorry, the Klingon cry, and it's kind of badass. I kind of like how the circle closed there. Yeah, not even my favorite part. Here's my favorite part. The captain who said, "Turn those prisoners over to us." They go to him and say, we got in a fight with these guys and now they're dead. And the guy says, I need to talk to Worf, please. Mm-hmm. And the captain's like, of course, Worf, go talk to the other Klingon, would you?
He's like, yeah, I did it. No, I'm just kidding.
And the guy says, how did they die? And Worf says, they died well. They died in battle. The captain of the other ship then says, man, in so many words, I really respect you, Worf. You're awesome. You know what? When you get to the end of your service to Starfleet, consider coming to my ship because I'd hire you in a hot second. And that's a nice moment where we see that Worf is someone who can be admired, especially by Klingons, which hasn't happened up to this point. Mm-hmm. So did that make you feel good? Did you like that part at least? I love that part.
I thought that Worf was accepted for being an excellent security officer, but there's still some deep-rooted issues of him as an individual with a mixed past that wasn't addressed. And so, no. It's a cool ending for this, but no.
You are ice cold. You are unbelievable.
Ice cold in my veins, baby.
What's cooler than cool? Ice cold.
Klingon measles. That's kind of.
We got to get you over those Klingon measles.
No, I cannot. Someone wrote that, got paid to write that. Cash that royalty check and goes, yep, Klingon measles was my idea this week.
All right, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode, and I think it's safe to say what the conclusion is, but Mr. Boyce, I want you to speak for yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I really like Worf and I really respect him. 1 being how you felt about Worf coming into this episode. How do you feel now?
I
feel like I pushed you way too.
I give it a solid 3. The
well, we
other
jumped
Klingons. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we made a little bit of improvement in how you feel about Worf, and honestly, I understand your feelings. I think you've made them abundantly clear.
Shut up about it, bro. All right, fine.
Well, no. Look, I'm not going to make you watch a Worf episode anytime soon.
Yeah, you will. After holodeck episodes for a month and a half, we're definitely doing Worf episodes. All the Worfs.
I would do this if I hadn't done this already with holodecks and you were just pretty much like, I might just quit being on Starbase. I'm kidding. He never said
Dixon
that.
Hill himself, yeah.
That's one of my biggest fears, though. Any notes left over from watching Heart of Glory, Mr. Boyce?
Yeah, the visual effects for Geordi's visor was supposed to be dope. It looks kind of weird by today's standards, which I still think should be the crux of this episode. I'm surprised it didn't in season 1 because they're going for broke. So basically, these Klingons are like your cousins from your homeland that come over and hate you the fact that you're American. But they're right. Worf is soft as ice cream.
Man.
So the first guy dies, and they make a point of zooming on his makeup job. Smooth Move TV show, and humans can live on Galt. Did it have a casino? I would check it out.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just sending a noted warrior off to Stover Corps. Forgive the interruption. But hey, how about those grumpy old Klingons tonight, huh? Not too bad. You know, when this episode came out in 1988, Heart of Glory, I was really excited. I mean, we had Lieutenant Worf, of course, and we all love Worf. Well, most of us. Come on, Flobo. Get with the program. What do you say? Anyway, we had Worf, but we had yet to see any other Klingons from the Empire in the post-treaty era of Star Trek. So this was some great new stuff. And they would go on, of course, to greatly enhance the lore, the Klingon lore, over the course of TNG, DS9, and Voyager, for that matter. So really the beginning of a long, wonderful tale told through the eyes of Worf. Captain John and Commander Flobo, you did a fantastic job analyzing, recapping, and reviewing Heart of Glory from TNG Season 1. We thank you, and this was just a classic episode in its own right of Starbase 80. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you haven't had enough of Flobo Boyce, and let's face it, who can ever get enough of Flobo? I know I can't. Then you want to join us live this Sunday, September 21st, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Retro Rangers, where Flobo will be joining John and me live. It's going to be great. A lot of fun. So, stay tuned for the coming attractions for more details. Coming attractions also will tell you what's coming up in the whole week ahead for the Weber Internet thingy. So come on, have some dumb fun with all of us, won't you? Until then, enjoy. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. And until next time, live long and prosper, and stay logical, my friends. Good night.
Check us out. Weber Internet thingy, Weber Internet thingy, Weber Internet thingy. Good times are never in doubt. Weber Internet thingy. Come on and join the run. Weber Internet thingy. We got the blues and the run. Get away from that big mean world and come have lots of dumb fun. Never in doubt. Weber Internet thingy. Come on and join the fun. Weber Internet thingy. We got the blues on the run. Get away from that big mean world and come have lots of dumb fun. Weber Internet thingy. Get her Internet thingy. Come have the fun. JoeTownsel.com. JoeTownsel.com.